Advice Hour with Tanya, media's #1 big sister. So right now, you're listening live to Tanya TKO with the Live Advice Hour. Welcome. You are on the air. What's your name?
Tamaira.
Hi, Tamaira. Nice to meet you. You're on the phone live with Tanya TKO. And what's your question, my dear?
Well, I have a similar situation to the caller from before, but
okay.
After all of that, I kind of don't have anything else to say. But I did want to add to it. In my particular situation.
Well, and then also I'd like to say this, Tamaira. Even if your situation is similar to somebody else's, please always keep in mind that all of our situations are unique to us. And what something means to us is going to be different than what it means to another person. And there will be different reasons for why we do certain things inside of our lives and what drives that and how it perpetuates. So even if it looks similar on paper, there are different things. Like, for example, let's use domestic violence as an example, right? For one person, domestic violence may be the lesson in this life to rise above it. And for another person, domestic violence may be an indication or a pattern that they need to work on being able to advocate for other people or advocate for themselves or stand up for themselves. For some people, so for every single person, every situation is going to be uniquely tailored to them. Please do keep in mind that before we come into these lives, that we have things that we'd like to work on, patterns that we'd like to overcome, or lessons that we'd like to learn. And the way that we do this is by engaging in life's activities. So tell us, what is going on with you, Tamaira?
Well, my situation is pretty much I'm married. My husband, I thought that we didn't get married for his particular papers or whatever. But to make a long story short, I'm over all of that. Like, I've gotten past all of that. I'm pretty much on my own. I'm married, but I'm carrying more of a single status. And I think my problem is not so much as getting my life. It's like I felt like I was robbed for the 2 years that we were together. And just getting my life back together and getting back on track. I'm doing, different things. I've gotten into, just, how can I say it? More within myself, more meditation. I've, did more studies on, like, different things like candle rituals and stuff like that, just to spiritually get myself grounded, because I found myself in this situation and becoming very angry and bitter. And I don't want to be, perceived as that type of person, because I'm really not an angry and bitter person. But this took me to a level where, anybody who says they're from another particular, I'm just going, if it's okay, he's Nigerian. So right off the bat, I'm just like, I'm not talking to you just because, So my situation is getting myself back grounded and I guess loving myself. Now, I don't have a father issue or anything like that. My father passed away, a while back. We had a good relationship. I don't have those issues. I went into being in a relationship and staying within that realm of a relationship and not being. I'm a very strong woman. What I say is I don't. Everything was separate. So my bills is my bills, your bills is your bills, your issues is your issues, my issues is my issues. We'll come together at night and that's it. That's pretty much how I am, because that's how I was raised. I'm the oldest in my family. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been in control without making him feel like he was weak. But, it was some things that he didn't understand. It was some things that, some languages that he couldn't comprehend. So it was just, I don't know. But, again, my question is to through all of that is how do you stay or get back to loving yourself and being grounded and, just basically loving yourself, and how do you, like, start meditating? Because I find that to be very hard to meditate at all. I can't sit still and meditate. I can't do that.
Okay. And remember I was saying that every situation is going to mean something different to every person, whereas in the last caller's situation, there may have been a pattern replicated from childhood where there was a certain longing that existed. But in your situation, I'm getting the feeling that there is some sort of release that needs to happen, that situation came into your life as a form of teaching you how to let go, how to release. I don't want to say this, right? Because it might sound a little far out, right? But yeah, I know, right? I'm getting the feeling that for you, that your situation is in not only releasing, but in letting go of a lot of different things. Like if you can imagine a fist, right? Like if someone went to hand you a pitcher and you wanted to grab the pitcher, you would first need to open up your fist in order to grab the pitcher. And in order for you to get the blessings that are here to be bestowed upon you in this life, there are some things that you're going to have to let go of in this lifetime. And one of those things, I'm getting a sense that there's a certain level of hardness that you need to let go of. I'm getting the sense that there's a certain amount of hardness in your life, in the way that you do things, that you need to give yourself permission to be soft, that it's okay for you to be open, to be soft, that it's okay for you to be feminine. In this situation with your ex-husband, how long did you all stay married? You said 2 years?
We met in 2009. We dated for off and on for 3 years. And then I was like, okay, because of who I was as being the hard person that you pick up on, I was like, listen, okay, we got too much going on in two different directions, and we're not coming together. We have no plans, no nothing. So with that being said, okay, let's just go our separate ways. So I moved. And I did talk to him. He emailed me a couple of times. That's the only lines of communication that I left open for him. And, one day he was just like, you didn't think I was going to look for you. I miss you. Can we come together and talk? So I gave him a chance. I threw the line back out there. And, again, I knew better, but I was trying to do something different. I've been following you for a long time. It was before when you were teaching how to become a woman and be more feminine and things like that, when you used to have the little whiteboard and, you used to write. I've been following and I was like, wow, you know what? She's right. I knew, I'm not a roughneck, or I do come from the streets. I'm originally from Chicago, so, you have to be a little hard in order to live in a city like that.
Yeah, of course.
With that being said, I let my guard down.
Actually, I'm getting the feeling that I'm getting this feeling from my spirit that you did not really let your guard down, that there was something that happened, that this was a test, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting the feeling that in this lifetime, one of the things that you have to work on is opening your fist, letting go, resting in your femininity. And I'm getting the feeling that with this situation, that there's a certain hardness that you have and have had for quite some time. And that in this situation, you attracted a man who would respond to that, but be the parallel to that. And that when you say that you let your guard down, that you didn't really let your guard down, that you actually opened yourself for this test that would prove to you why you should have never let your guard down in the first place. And so you didn't really take the step back and really wash your spirit clean and come into the situation like, wow, you know what, I'm open, I'm ready, I'm here. but you went in with kind of like a half squint, like, okay, I'm opening up myself, but we're going to see what's going to happen. And then what ended up happening was what you were trying to, or what you waited to see was going to happen. And now you're left here more closed than before, now with a little bit of bitterness to add to that, and then now kind of teetering, not really sure which way to go. Do I ever really open myself up? When I did, I had this issue with this person, and now whenever I see somebody who reminds me of him, I get closed up again. But in your situation, I would say that you really have to do some chakra cleaning work. Have you worked on your chakras yet?
I'm working on my root chakra right now, and
that's the feeling that I'm getting. I'm getting the feeling that you really need to work on cleansing that root chakra. I'm getting a feeling that the bottom 3 chakras need some work, and when you work on those, then you'll be able to open up the heart chakra a bit more. But I'm getting the feeling that you really need to work on shining up and polishing that root chakra and really giving yourself permission to be like, I'm okay now. Tamaira is okay. The rough streets of Chicago, what I had to do growing up and how I had to fight and be tough and protect myself, that it's okay to let that reign go and let somebody take care of you, to be open to knowing that if you did entrust someone to take care of you, that he would take care of you. Because if you send the vibration out there that you don't really think that you're going to be taken care of, you send the vibration out there to find somebody who really won't be able to take care of you. So give yourself permission, clear up those bottom 3 chakras, and really just rest in the feminine. Take some chances with doing things that are more feminine. Take some chances with instead of being in your masculine, because the masculine is active, the feminine is passive. The feminine is in letting the man come to you. The feminine is in being rested and being like the flower in which your fragrance gets put out there and it attracts the bees to you. Know that it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be taken care of. It's okay for someone to spend money on you. It's okay for him to open his wallet and you still be safe. You will still be all right. Listen, you've taken care of yourself for so long now. It's okay. You will be all right. Let that go. Let that down. Let that dissipate and open yourself to really having a man who will come into your life, who will take the reins of manhood in that relationship and rise to the position of king and own in yourself as the queen of that situation, and know that your strongest power is not in pretending to be hard. But your power as a woman is in allowing yourself to be soft. That's the hard part. Being hard is easy. Keeping your fist closed is easy. But opening your hands, letting it go, and being open, relaxing, being soft, that's hard. That's the hard part right there. Being tough, all of that is easy. So just let yourself rest and relax in your femininity and open yourself. And when you start feeling a little uncomfortable, I don't know what it is that you went through in your childhood, but I'm getting a feeling that in your childhood that there were some things that were some necessary things that were supposed to be in place that were not in place for you, and you learned very early on that if Tamaira didn't take care of Tamaira, then nobody would. And so,
yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Okay, so I'm saying that now this is your lesson. Your lesson is in putting that down, in knowing that just because that was a certain way when you were growing up and that you couldn't really depend on anybody to really take care of you in the way that you needed to be taken care of, that's the past. that it's okay, that you can have a different future. So let some of that down. And when you start to feel the feeling of discomfort, of wanting to close yourself back up, acknowledge that feeling and hug the inner child in you, that child that didn't get everything that she needed, the child who was not taken care of. What was it that you weren't able to get as a child? What was that?
Both my mother and father worked. I think when they got their divorce at 13, and then my mother worked 3 jobs, to take care of us. It was 5 of us, and I had to take care of kids because I was the oldest. I think I got passed on, like school clothes and stuff like that. So I had to sell my clarinet to get school clothes for high school, and then I started selling candy and working, doing different things, babysitting to get money because my mom, worked so hard, and even though my dad he was there, but he was in another state, and it was a long story. But to make it short, you're right. I had to start working like at 13, basically.
Okay. So pretty much from the time that you just came into young womanhood, you really were never afforded the opportunity to ever have anybody really take care of you, that you rose to the mantle of womanhood long before you were a woman. And so there's a lot that you've been that you've been cheated out of, or that you feel that you've been cheated out of. But everything is in alignment. This is a part of your lesson in this life. And so in this life, a part of your lesson is in learning that it's okay, you can let that go. Because in order for you to learn that you can let that go, you had to have a situation that came into your life that was difficult to let go of. So that burden that you felt from early on, having to take care of other people, never really having anybody, or never feeling that you had anybody to really go to bat for you, to be there for Tamaira, to really, have Tamaira's back, that you felt when you were younger is part of your lesson in this life. So take that and start to put that down. Do some inner child work. If you're having a difficult time meditating, like you can't sit there and meditate, I'd like you to just start by doing this, by just paying attention to things. When you just take a look at certain things, like when you go to walk down the street, I want you to take a look at the things around you. Take a look at the buildings. Take a look at the sidewalk. Take a look at the way your feet look when they're moving across the ground. Listen to the way your feet sound as they move. Listen for different sounds that you hear passing by in the street. Try to listen for the wind that you hear blowing through the leaves. And what I want you to do is I want you to go through all 5 of your senses. I want you to go through sight, hearing, taste, touch, seeing, and I want you to see, or smelling. How many senses do we have? I think I missed one in there. But I want you to smell the fragrances that you smell as you pass by, hear the sounds, see the taste. What do you taste in your mouth as a result of the smells? What do you see? Take a good look around and take notice of your environment. Even as you're here on the phone, where are you sitting right now?
I'm in the kitchen, and I'm standing up.
Okay, what do you see in the kitchen?
Let's see, my table has fruits on it, elephants. My counter has, I have an alley kitchen, so,
Okay.
stuff.
So after we get off the line, what I want you to do is I want you to really look around your kitchen, and I want you to take a look at the fruit. I want you to look at the shape of the fruit, the color of the fruit. See if you can even smell the fruit from where you are. Take a look out the window. Look at the stove. Look at everything. Take a look at everything. Go through all of your 5 senses and see what you smell, taste, touch, and that in and of itself will be your first form of meditation. Meditation is really just quieting the mind. And so when you start doing that, like, you'd be surprised, you can look at an orange. I used to do these, I bet you can't guess this, on my Facebook page. Who remembers that in the room? And and I would take some really close-up pictures of different things, like the spine of the inside of a grapefruit, and people didn't know what it was. And I'm like, You remember those? And you can
Yeah.
look at an orange and you can spend 5 or 6 minutes just looking at the divots of the orange and just looking at the way that the dimples go in and they go out, and you can just take some time to really just be in the moment with something. Be in the moment, and that's the first step. And just go macro to micro. Look all around, and then after you become accustomed to that, maybe you could spend 5 minutes doing that. I mean, we've been on for quite some time now. Spend 5 minutes just looking around, and then the next time that you do it, try to go up to 6 minutes. Try to go macro to micro. Pick up that orange. See how it weighs. See how it feels in your hand. Rub your finger across it. See if you can feel the oil coming from the skin. So spend some time really delving into the here and now, what's happening at this very moment. Forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And concentrate on that task at hand. So thank you so much for calling in, Tamaira. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you so much.